moment that decision was announced, a great prize fight. Every bit the showcase for two warriors that we had expected it might be. It was a courageous performance by Ray Leonard. It was a courageous, and in my eyes at least, a dominant performance by Tommy Hearns. Unfortunately, it is now a fight which will forever be remembered more for the decision than for what took place in the 12 rounds leading to it.
Leonard Hearns, Duran Hagler. What a decade in the welterweight and middleweight divisions. Joining us now from a studio in Detroit, Tommy Hearns, and from Washington, D.C., Ray Leonard. Tommy, starting with you, there was a very pure moment right after that fight, even when that disappointing to you decision was announced. You were so elated with your performance, it was almost as if you really didn't care what anybody else said.
That's not true. I cared. I felt very concerned about that, but knowing that after the judges have made the decision, there's nothing really you can do about it. You have to really accept, I guess, the decision that they made.
Well, but since that time, you've said you thought you were robbed. What's changed you?
I said that I thought that I was ahead at least 4 rounds.
Do you think that if the situation was reversed and Ray had knocked you down twice, that would have only been a draw?
I don't think so. I think that I felt that Ray is a big person in Las Vegas or any city that he fights in, and as he can get, if it was a point that it was in the fight where he had the edge, I felt that he probably would have been victorious that night. Yeah.
But I'd like to point out, as I turn to Ray, that when you fought James Kinchin, you were knocked down, and you got a controversial decision. Ray, do you think there's some aura about you or the way you fight that attracts judges?
I don't agree with that, Larry. I wish that the aura would affect Tommy Hearns. Apparently it didn't. But if anything, I think it's just a matter of the way the judges saw fit to score the fight. Naturally, I didn't particularly fight my kind of fight. I didn't feel mentally committed to the game to do the best that I could. It was just a strange evening for me, a very physical evening for me, but thank God things turned out okay.
Let's then re-examine the highlights of the first half of that fight. All right, let's go to round 3 first, the first decisive round of the fight. What happened here, fellas?
Well, I looked Tommy right in the eyes, Larry, and we had the same thing in mind to throw the right hand. It was a matter whose right hand would get there first.
Well, were you hurt when he hit you the second time? Was he already hurt by then?
I was dazed. Yes, I was dazed. In fact, I slipped his right hand, and it caught me behind the back of the head, Larry, but I still was dazed. Here I'm very conscious and really trying to counter Tommy, but Tommy's trying to get in the left hook to the body and to counter with his right hand also.
Were you surprised, Tommy, that you were able to knock him down this early in the fight?
Well, you know, I never underestimate the power that I possess in that right hand. I knew that if I was able to get to Ray, I knew I would be able to do some damage. I didn't know how much damage, but I knew I would be able to get some kind of response from him. And it was just determined on the response I got from him. See, just then we just threw the right hand right together. We were both reading each other's mind. We had on the mind, throw the right hand, deliver it, the shot. And I was just trying to put more power behind my right hand than Ray was putting behind his.
All right, now you're behind the fight.
To pretty much let Tommy spin himself and then take the attack. And this is what I'm doing here in the 5th round. I had Tommy hurt. As a matter of fact, Tommy, you made up your mind that you wouldn't go down this time.
Well, you know, I think in life you have to make your mind what you want to do. In this fight, I was just determined that I was going to go through the fight, I was going to win the fight, I was not going to be knocked down or out this time.
Because I put some pretty good shots together.
Well, I have to admit,
he surprised me that he stood up.
I have to admit, you did put some great shots together, and I was able to weather the storm. And you know, you surprised me too, Ray.
Ray, you couldn't follow up on your advantage in the next round. Were you winded or was Tommy stronger than you anticipated?
Well, there's no question about it. Tommy was strong. But what concerns me the most about my performance, Larry, is that I hurt Tommy and I couldn't finish him off. And normally, if I hurt a guy, he's history.
Official Tommy Kazmarek differed with the other two officials on the first two tentative rounds. All three gave Hearns 10-8 margins for that knockdown. And all three gave Ray Leonard 10-8 margins for his big round, the fifth. At the end of 6 rounds, Kazmarek had Leonard ahead. By the same score, the other two officials had Hearns ahead. Tommy, by being able to withstand some of Ray's best shots in that 5th round and come back in the 6th, do you think you made him doubt himself after that?
I think that it put a lot of thought on his mind because Ray led into the fight. He thought that everything was true that was said about me, that I had no legs, that I had no chin anymore. I wasn't able to take no good punch anymore. So when Ray seen that that wasn't true, I think he had to go back and regroup, and it took time for him to regroup. And by that time, I was already applying the pressure. Then he didn't really know what to think.
Ray, it was obviously a life and death fight for Tommy Hearns. Was that his edge in your judgment? Was it life and death for you?
It turned out to be that way, Larry, because at first it was a no-win situation because I was expected just to blow Tommy out of there because Tommy was considered the guy, the fighter that once was. But Tommy's a fighter that still is. And I had to deal with that, and it became a reality, especially the 3rd and the 11th round.
Did you cut corners in training by going to Florida rather than out in the desert because you wanted to be nearer to your family, by not having your former trainers Jenks Morton or Angelo Dundee there, men who could tell you to go the extra mile or the extra 5 miles when perhaps you didn't want to?
The absence of Jenks Morton and Angelo Dundee were not at all factors, Larry, because with me to go the extra mile, it only requires myself, self-motivation, self-discipline. And I think once I lose those special qualities, it's time to retire. But I still have those qualities, and unfortunately, I just wasn't as motivated as I should have been, and let alone against a great fight like Tommy Hearns.
Okay, fellas, let's now take a look at the highlights of the 2nd half of the fight. Round 7 was another good round for you, Tommy. What was happening here?
Well, I was trying to take control there, Larry. Using more of the left jab, trying to work off left jab. See, I work in different shots off left jab, trying to make Ray start to work, watch the left hand, and I was able to do a little bit more.
But you got wild here. You let him off the hook, didn't you?
I kind of got a little wild at that time because I was anxious. And I started throwing punches from all angles, all kinds of shots. And Ray was slick, he was very crafty fighter that night, and he was able to move and get away from a lot of those shots.
Now it's the 11th round, Ray. You've won the previous 2 rounds. You're coming on. Did you think that you were going to finish very strongly and come through here as you did in the first fight?
Well, until that right hand, Larry, I thought I was going to finish very strong. I stood in the way, and Tommy hit with left hooks and right hands. And Tom doesn't have a left hook, but it landed Monday night.
Well, what does that tell you? Does that tell you that you're not thinking as fast, or that you're 33 years old and you're not moving as fast?
I think it tells me I'm not thinking as fast, Larry. I really believe that my mind was not there. And one thing about an athlete, he never wants to accept the last bell or the last whistle. But watching this fight, apparently something is not right.
And of course, part of that something, after you won those previous 2 rounds, is that Tommy Hearns is still there, still apparently strong, and still going at you.
Well, I picked the pace up, especially the 11th and 12th round. And 12th round was my biggest round, I would have to believe. And he surprised me standing up through the barrage of punches. Here his right hand landed, and I was basically trying to make him throw a lot of punches and miss shots, but he was very accurate.
Basically what I was doing now was to I had Leonard watching the left hand because I was doing more with the left hand than I normally do normally I'm just using the left hand for one thing, is to jab. And when I started shooting left hook, that's kind of surprised to me because Ray wasn't looking for the left hand. He was never looking for the left hook. He was looking for the straight left jab and the right cross. When the left hand came, then, you know, he was kind of puzzled.
After that round, there was desperation in Ray Leonard's corner. Ray, did you believe you needed a knockout to win?
Larry, I felt that the two knockdowns didn't particularly help me, and I needed to pour it on. If anything, I kind of felt that the knockdown would